In today's topic, we're going to be talking about a new software which is VS Code. VS Code is kind of a global software that every developer, every what will I say, anybody that just does anything coding basically are. Today we're going to be setting the VS Code environment for data analytics and data science. The environment on how it's being used, everything that needs to be imported, how to set the VS Code environment. Because it's the VS Code, that's what we're going to be doing a lot of things. Trust me, why I like the VS Code, it's flexible. It's flexible to things that you can basically do in Jupyter, right? But we are going to venture into that, and I need your absolute attention.
Remember the first day I told you guys to go to my VS Code to download it, right? But if you've not downloaded it, I am going to put the link in the description. Go and download the VS Code, right? Just click on download. You're going to have particular VS Code installed in your computer. So the first thing we're going to do is to look for it. So come here. So when you type VS Code, you're going to see something like this, and you click on open. So at first, this is the environment you are going to see. The stuff, some of you is going to ask you to choose your theme. Your theme meaning that what type of background do you want, the light background, whatever. You're going to choose the background, apply, and stuff like that. But yeah, we're not going to stress. This is what you're going to see when you open it at first. Everything you're going to see in my VS Code. But we're going to close this particular one. It's like a tab. If you've gone to your Chrome, you're going to have a tab like this. You close it and you're going to have a clean sheet like this, right? So let me give you a walkthrough of how this VS Code thing works. Over here is your file explorer. You can see explorer. So wherever folder you want to open in VS Code, you can open it here, right? Unlike Jupyter Notebook, you can't open your folder by the side of your workspace. Can you see that? So can you see another advantage of the VS Code over Jupyter Notebook? This other place is for source, for GitHub. Later on in this course, I'm going to show you what GitHub is. I'm going to explain GitHub. I'm not going to dive deep into it, but I'm just going to show you, explain what it really is in this environment and why you should have it as a data analyst or as a data scientist, right? So that is for what we Git. Then here is the debug, right? You want to run and debug some particular errors, open a file. This particular thing will run through that program and identify some errors, some debugging issues in that particular file, right? Then the last one that we have here is the extension. Over here, I call this particular thing the apps, right? We have the installed, and if you've not installed anything, it's not going to show any number. At first, for you, it's going to show 0, right? For you, it's going to show 0. So one thing with VS Code, you already have something that will basically understand the kind of person you are. So any apps that comes out that is related to what you do is going to give you here, right? Recommended. Like now, it's telling me to install the SQL2, right? So that is that about this navigation. If you come here, this file is just like every other nav bar that we have, you know, open a new file, create, open folder, stuff like that, save, auto save, you know, saving all this particular, how to save your file, stuff like that. The same thing with my SQL, the same thing with my Jupyter Notebook, everything, right? Edit, you already know what edit is, to redo, copy, paste, replace, all the stuff that we do there. Selection is to select a particular, let's say, line, a particular cursor, a particular cell, stuff like that, right? View is the appearance of your workspace. Do you want to duplicate your screen into the output and the input? Stuff like this. This is why I tell you that VS Code is more flexible. Then run is just to run, maybe start debugging or run without debugging, stuff like that. But we hardly use this particular aspect. Do you understand? You know, our own type of reason of using VS Code is different, right? So VS Code is like a global environment for different type of people. You can see that even a web developer, Android and iOS, data analytics, game developer basically use VS Code. So I've explained all this whole navbar and stuff like that. So now I'm going to be implementing each of them one by one, apart from this particular one, but at least I'll implement some of those stuff into the environment. So the main topic today is setting this VS Code environment for data analysis and also for data science as well. So the first thing we're going to do is open our folder, right? So we'll come to this open folder. We're going to look for our folder. Remember, it's Blue Ghost Insight. We select it, and if you select, it's going to bring out everything we've been doing so far. Everything we've been doing so far. You can see, including my SQL, you can see the day 11 and day 12. project, which is day13.sql. As you can see, each of these particular things have their own unique functionalities. It's still giving me this welcome. So anytime I say it, I always close it. You can see different softwares is going to give them different icon. You can see for Python, it gives it the Python logo. The one we did in Jupyter Notebook, you can see like a notebook kind of icon there. Then you can see the one we did for MySQL, you can see kind of a database kind of icon. After doing that, the next thing I want you guys to do is to go to your extension. When you come to your extension, I already have some of these things, I think, installed already. So, but I'm going to still redo it again. I want you guys to download the Run. You search for Run, give it a little bit time. Make sure you're connected to the internet. Keep that in mind. Different type of app is going to come up, right? I want you to install this particular one. So you can see why am I showing uninstall, because I've installed it. So you're going to say install. You click on install, it will start installing immediately. Then after that, you will go to what? Jupyter. You come to Jupyter like this. Okay, so I don't know what is wrong with my internet. You have to install this one, the code runner. Install Excel viewer. We're going to be using this in the future, right? Install the Excel viewer, install Jupyter cell tags, install Jupyter key map, then install Jupyter slideshow. Yeah, install Python, install the pylons, then install the Python debugger. You may not need that really. Install the Python indent as well. Okay, so that is what you're going to bring in. Those are the things you have to install. So all you just have to do is to come here to the extension, search for them, and make sure you install only these ones. Take a screenshot of them. Let me widen them a little bit so you can see it. And those are the extensions that are needed. Now, let's now go to the main thing, to set our environment. Another part I want you guys to keep in mind is there is also a window in this area. We have this window that operates each of these particular places, right? So we want this window to bring out the terminal. I can either come here to the view and I will go straight towards to the terminal. When I click on the terminal, it's going to bring up this particular terminal. So what I want you guys to do is to open up your terminal. You press Ctrl J, and when you press Ctrl J, it's going to open up this particular place for you. So there are things that we have to install to configure this our VS Code to be able to perform Python syntax inside of it, right? So, and also remember, we're also doing data analytics as well, which may need visualization, right? But as we proceed, we're going to be installing them. But for yours to work, you're going to open this particular terminal just like the way I did. Make sure that this particular console is on terminal, not any other place. Make sure it's on terminal. Okay, then I want you to type pip install ipy-9, right? ipy-9. So you have to make sure that this is installed. So what is the full meaning of pip? Pip is what? Pip install packages. It's kind of package management. That means there's a lot of things embedded in the pip, right? So whenever you use the pip, you use it to install different type of packages inside, right? So we're going to run this command. So when you're done writing it, you hit on enter. You hit on enter. Make sure that you have your internet connected as well, and depend on how fast your internet is how fast it's going to install. So you can see this is already done. I think mine is already satisfied. It doesn't need to be installed, right? Until you see your directory like this, it is done installing. So now let's test if all these things are working, if our Python things are working correctly. So we're going to bring, let's say, this day 2. Remember this day 2 that we did? You can see that in day 2 we have all this particular thing. So this is the main reason why you have to have the run code. If you don't have this extension here, this code runner, you're not going to be able to run this code. It's because of that we have this particular thing here. So you come here and you run your code. So you can see every output that we always have in Python software, we also have the output here. So just imagine a software that can be able to run Python, can be able to run Jupyter and other stuff for you. It makes it flexible, right? So that is why VS Code is mostly use. So today is just the installation and setting up the environment for our data analysis and data science. So in the next class, we're going to be diving deep into them. So I'm going to give you guys time to install it, make sure you set it up. So in the next class, we are going to continue. That if you've derived insight from this video, make sure you hit on the like button, and also don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. Trust me, this channel has something for you. Make sure you share this video as well to help people the way I also want to help people as well, right? So stay safe, stay profitable, and we'll meet the next class. Have a nice day.
Smart Sound.